One of Tony Stark's superpowers is his resourcefulness. Now, most of the time when we talk about resourcefulness, we're referring to using what we have, the materials available to us, efficiently and effectively. And as we'll see, Tony Stark certainly does this. But this is not the core of his superpower. Stark has the ability to find clever and unique uses for the resources available to him. This involves creativity and ingenuity, but Stark brings a little something extra to the equation. Tony Stark uses his resources according to their possible application, not just their designed function. This compounds the potential use of his resources immeasurably. What I mean by this is, whereas others see an explicit object, one designed to fulfill a specific function, Stark sees an implicit object with functional attributes. For example, we may say that a book is an explicit object, one designed for a specific purpose, well, maybe two purposes, to contain and disseminate information. I'm looking around for a book to use as an example, but this is the explicit function of a book. But a book has other functional attributes that can afford it different uses. It's hard, it's flat, it's stackable, it can be thick, it's easily manipulated, and so the list goes on. Each one of these attributes affords the book a whole myriad of uses. The only limitation is, our resourcefulness, the creativity we bring to bear when we look at the possible functional uses of this object, divorced from its explicit intent, that of containing and disseminating information. As such, a book can be used to do something like level a particle accelerator, or as Jason Bourne and John Wick often show us, it can be used as a weapon. Even Sully uses it to level a ping pong table. It's because of this ability of Stark's to look at an object as something with functional attributes that he's able to look at a bathtub and see a mode of transportation, not just a receptacle for water in which one can bathe. This mindset allows Tony Stark to use his resources in ways beyond which they were originally designed to do. This means that he has, essentially a lot more functionality and a lot more options available to him when he's trying to figure out how to apply his resources to solving a problem. Because of this, he was able to build the Mark I, level the particle accelerator we were talking about, and make weapons from run-of-the-mill hardware components. But of course, most famously, he was able to build the Arc Reactor, that thing right there, with what? How did Obadiah put it?
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's not Tony Stark because he can't think outside the box. Or in this case, outside the box of scraps. Now, in full disclosure, this mindset of resourcefulness, this is something that's always eluded me. My whole life, I've kind of felt like I need to have the exact right part or the exact right component to do whatever it is I'm trying to do. And so, as a result, I haven't been very resourceful with my resources. And that's gotten me in a fix now and again. For example, I have 2 or 3 cameras, and not including what my phones can do. Yeah, I have multiple phones too. 3 green screens, close to a dozen mics, and more lights than I care to count. I even have the very exact screws I need to work on the fuel tank of my MG Midget. These screws, they weren't cheap. And yet, the truth of the matter is, I probably could have gotten the same darn screws at Home Depot for, a penny each. Now, I've tried working on this. For example, I have a couple of extra shelves here. Over here in the closet, I store all my camera gear and so forth, but I only needed the shelves to come up so high. So I had a couple of extra shelves. Well, what can I do with these? Well, one thing I can do with them is I can go ahead and set them up here as kind of a cross between a place to hang all my cables and store my clamps and so forth and all that good stuff, as well as tuck in some of these sound panels. That way I am reusing a shelf for a purpose that it was not intended to serve, but I am able to use it functionally as a storage unit for cables and as a soundboard. So yeah, take a look at your resources and look at them through the lens of Tony Stark and look for functional attributes, not explicit designed uses. By doing this, you can actually get a lot more out of your very limited resources. All right? So there you go. Hey, thanks a lot for joining today. And as always, until we talk again, have a fantastic day.